want to welcome everybody to the first episode of Tinfoil and Tan Lines. I'm your host, Corey, here with my co-host, Callie. And in today's episode, we just want to go over kind of our origin story, how we met, how we got into the conspiracy world, and then why we're doing this podcast and what we hope we can achieve by jumping into this venture headfirst, really. I mean, this is something that's super new to both of us and having a great time doing it. So
yeah. I'm so excited. We've got so much amazing content already kind of recorded. So I think it'll be not kind of recorded. It is recorded.
It's legit. It's recorded. Science are delivered. We have it in like 3 different programs so they can't get lost.
Yeah. I'm excited though. It's going to be fun. So I was going to say, should we talk about kind of how we met? That's always like a fun story.
You can start there.
So we met at a friend's birthday party. And what was it? It was last April.
Yeah, so less than a year ago.
Yeah.
Which feels crazy because I feel like I've known you for so long.
I know. Feels like it's been forever, but it's not even been a year.
Our souls
just
have an anniversary party.
I know. I thought
we should go back to the place. You did? We should go back to the place we met and have a date.
I did think about that, and I was like, oh, is that too, like, first date cheesy? But then I was like, no, we should do it.
I'm about it.
Okay.
We're doing it. Okay, cool. Adding that to the calendar.
So I show up. I didn't really know anybody other than the birthday girl, maybe just a few other ladies over there. It's a pretty big group. And I sat down. I saw Corey. I saw you. I'm like, oh my gosh, this girl is so cute. Who is this girl with the crop top on? I've got to sit by her.
Nice.
Immediately drawn to the crop top.
Yep.
So then, we just sat down, started chatting. And I think we talked about like our kids first.
Yeah, we both
kids
connected.
Are similar age.
We both homeschool.
Yes, we both homeschool.
Which was so cool.
So,
yeah.
And then I don't even know how we got onto like conspiracies, but somehow maybe somebody mentioned chemtrails or something.
I honestly, like knowing you, I feel like you just broke the ice first. I'm pretty sure you probably said
Antarctica.
Yeah, you probably said something like the ice wall, and I fell in love.
Yeah.
Love at first conspiracy. I was like, wait, who is this girl? Not only is she gorgeous, she's so fun. We're in such a similar phase of life with our kids. And then she knows stuff. Like, I have friends for sure that are aware of like certain things going on in the world. Yeah. But like, there's no one I really could sit down and talk to about it, right? Like, you know a lot, I know a lot. So we just have so much fun. We would go out for coffee. So that's what happened next. Yeah. Is we would start meeting up for coffees.
One thing led to another.
Yep. One thing led to the next. And we would get coffees and we would just get our big lattes, usually like a pastry. And we'd sit there for like an hour and a half.
Or more.
Just chat. And we would just chat about conspiracies pretty much the whole time. And we would always laugh, if anyone's an earshot eavesdropping on us, they're probably like, what in the world are these girls talking about?
I feel like we're in the right place, though. This is like a pretty conspiracy friendly state. So that's
true.
I feel like
for those who don't know, we're in Idaho. Yeah.
Say more. I know. I always joke with another friend I have. Like, I literally heard her say the word Nephilim, and I'm like, what? My ears were like, what? I like beelined right over, and I was like, so tell me more.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's so fun when you have that connection because sometimes you don't feel like that there's that many people that know about this stuff, but I think there's more of us out there than we realize.
I think so.
So I'm hoping with this podcast too, like, it'll open the door for people to be more just vocal about it. And even within our friend groups and our circles, like, who knows, like, maybe we'll have that connection with them because they didn't know this side of us. Right. And now we're just like, yep, this is us. This is who we are.
Yep.
You get what you get. So I don't know.
And you'll like it.
Yeah. And don't throw a fit. You get what you get and don't throw a fit.
Or you get what you get and you'll like it.
You're going to really like it. And for those who can't see, if you're not watching on YouTube, we are wearing tinfoil outfits today.
Yes. Our tinfoil outfits to kick it off.
So, yeah, I think we had to, right?
Yeah, it was only natural. I mean, it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we took the tinfoil hat concept and just made it
into outfits. We were going to make hats. We just kind of ran out of time.
We did.
We'll have to do that another
day. We're going to have, maybe we'll do that. Well, an arts and crafts episode. We should do a tutorial.
We should figure out first how to make them like cute.
Yeah, we're going to make all different styles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we could just wrap.
Like a ball cap.
Maybe we could wrap a ball cap. That would be cool. That would be fun.
Let's do that.
Okay.
That sounds easier too. Because I feel like the normal tinfoil hats remind me of like the Tin Man on The Wizard of Oz.
Like
it just looks like an oil, whatever it's called.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a funnel.
A funnel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, we're upgrading the tinfoil hats.
I'm down with
merch
that.
to come.
Yes. Speaking of merch, our little cups here are so cute. We're going to get those engraved, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, we also have our
Put our
tinfoil
logo
cups
on there.
Yeah.
I know. How fun would that be if we could sell that? I mean, we're just doing this for us because I think it's such a
They're
cool
super cute.
idea.
I love them. Well, back to how we met.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, we go out for coffees, and then we would chat about all things from reptilians to the flat earth to whatever it may be. Everything.
UFOs, Bigfoot.
All of it.
Everything.
Like,
weird
honestly,
experiences. You have some crazy experiences.
I do have some crazy stories, and I'll share those definitely on the podcast in the future. So, but yeah, and then our husbands one day, because they would overhear us talk sometimes, and they were like, right, and they thought we were entertaining enough, I guess, but they were kind of both blown away. Like, my husband knew I knew stuff, but I don't think he realized how much until he heard me talking with you. And it was actually their idea for us to do a podcast.
Yeah. They've been our biggest cheerleaders.
Yes. And honestly, like, I think we both had the same first reaction. We were like, haha, funny. Like, took it more as like a joke. Yeah. And then as time went on, we thought, well, why not?
Yeah.
And then they kept pushing it too. Like, they kept asking, when are you guys going to record? When are you going to do it? So yeah, we just honestly hit the ground running. We found a place to record. And we just sat down and we just started doing it. Just doing what we do literally on a normal coffee date.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, all of our conversations are very unfiltered, very just organic. Like, this is how we would be hanging out at a coffee shop, and if you were overhearing us, like, this would be it.
Exactly. We don't always have our facts straight, obviously, but I think that's just part of like having conversation. This isn't meant to be factual, we want to be as accurate as we can, but we're more or less just like talking it over. We're trying to process through with each other, trying to figure out like, what do you think about this? Like, what are the chances of this being true? And so I think that's always been like really fun to just do with you and just throw things at you to be like, hey, what about this?
Yeah.
And so far, like, nothing's really surprised you. I mean, you're very I think
at some point you just realize that just things are so crazy and out there that you just can't really, you have to be open-minded. Really to everything. Like, no matter how insane it sounds, I think there's a lot of truth that's just been so hidden that we're just, most of us, when you hear it, it sounds unreal. Like, it's too crazy to be true. But once you've learned there's so much truth and so much of it, like, it's hard to be surprised at this point, honestly.
I know. Like,
not much surprises me.
That's how I feel. Like,
you could have told me the sky used to be purple, and I'd be like, maybe.
That would explain why we don't grow as much. No.
Yeah, that's what, I
mean, crazy. We just
the sun's been blocked out for too long.
Yeah.
And now we're all tiny.
I don't know. I mean, that documentary, like I was telling you about, where they supposedly found Noah and his wife, and they were like she was like 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
So,
and they were considered like normal size. They weren't giants, right? Because there were giants, but yeah, they were normal sized humans. And if you look back at old buildings and stuff, like their doorways and stairs, like the steps are massive. So
it would make sense.
Yeah, it would make sense.
So many things that just don't like line up, add up. And at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, you're not probably going to always know or find out the answer, but it's still like interesting to kind of dig. And it's interesting that just more and more stuff keeps coming to light. And, ultimately, if you go back to the word, it explains pretty much everything about why we are doing the things we're doing.
Yeah.
So
100%. No, I feel like the veil is thinning as well. I think there's just more and more, like, the spiritual realm and the physical realm are kind of like morphing into one because so many people have stories of encounters with different like cryptids, spiritual encounters, seeing things in the sky, like day or night, and there's so much information as well that's been released in the last several years that has, again, like, also just opened our eyes. And so I feel like now some of that, like, the veil has been lifted from our eyes, right? Like, we're seeing more into it. But I also feel like the spiritual realm is like ramping up. For what? So. I'm not exactly sure, but things are just like, it's like, feels like we're just speeding up. So
it really does.
Yeah. And Hollywood too, like everything with Hollywood's like been exposed. I feel like everyone kind of knows, like most people know like what's going on in Hollywood.
Whether they want to believe it or accept it. Yeah.
You've heard it. I feel like everyone listening is like nodding their heads. Like, yeah, probably like they know what I'm talking about without saying it, And
didn't Trump just post a tweet about like starting to talk about UFOs and aliens more like just a few days ago?
Yeah. Because he said, I think in the tweet it said like people are asking more questions and wanting to know more about it. So therefore they're going to start releasing stuff. But again, it's like anything that comes out of the White House, like for me, and I know you too, like anything the government puts out, it's like,
take
I know
it with a grain of salt.
Take it with a grain of salt because they're still going to control the narrative to an extent. Yeah, they might throw in some truth, but then they're going to muddy the waters with lies.
Yes.
So
always.
Yeah, I would advise everybody to take it with a grain of salt for sure.
Totally. Yeah. That's good. Good advice.
Thanks.
So
but yeah, I feel like this is just a timely season to be doing something like this.
Yeah.
And, we ultimately we're doing this because our husbands told us to. No, I was kidding. But no, we love each other and we love being together. It's a great excuse to hang out.
Fun.
And it's so fun. But again, we're going to be talking about things that are, serious and deep and maybe a little dark, but also things that are more lighthearted and fun too. And, we're not trying to make light of anything that's heavy, but at the same time, we're just, our personalities, we can't help but laugh and add humor to things. We can't help it. So, yeah. So that's kind of a taste of what we're going to be bringing to the table. I mean, we're going to be talking about everything, really. What is it? Everything under the firmament.
Everything under the firmament, yes.
Yeah, there's nothing we're not going to touch on. We have a list a mile long of topics that keeps growing, almost daily. I'm ooh, we got to talk about this. Or there'll be a new thing that comes out. It's okay, now we got to look into this subject. And we're going to have guests on, which we've already had. Which is really fun. So
I'm excited.
I'm so excited.
We have some fun people that are going to come and share their stories and experiences. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, I think it's cool because we're giving some people voices that they probably wouldn't have spoken about this stuff on their own social media or, whatever. But being able to come on here and talk about their thoughts or their experiences. And, we're very accepting of everyone's stories and views and just hearing people out. And so yeah, I think it'll be an informative and fun
Yes, I think so. I mean, because basically we kind of just start with where our journey started, kind of how did we get into these conspiracies, And it's well, for me, it was probably vaccines.
Pharma.
Yeah. So we talk about that and we kind of I feel like it's kind of just a gradual progression for most people. They kind of either start in vaccines or chemtrails or, somewhere in that area of things where we actually have data coming out that says hey, this isn't just a conspiracy. This is truth,
Yeah.
So
no, 100%. We're going to starting off with a triggering, I feel topic with vaccines, but we did. Yeah. We wanted to kind of go back to our journey. How do we start out? It was that and then chemtrails and then it just kind of goes from there. Right.
Yeah.
I feel just
what
you said, most
there.
people, that's how it goes. Yeah. It spirals out of control. So yeah, it's, I think people can be eased in.
I think so.
Because we're going to be talking about some wild things mermaids and reptilians and
man on the moon.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. All things NASA. So
we have some cool things
that
we talk about. So I mean, maybe I'm being biased, but
well, we think we're great. So we just hope everyone else does too.
I know. We just hope everyone else likes it.
Yeah.
So I did see this funny meme. It was me and my friends, once we realized that there are no more conspiracies because everything's come true. And it's the face is just
oh, I think I've seen that. Is it 2 men on a boat and they're just looking at each other how do we,
what do we do now?
What do we do now?
What do we do with ourselves?
Yeah.
It's all true.
I know. It all comes, literally almost everything has come true. Even things that I thought, when I first heard, I'm okay, no, that's out there. That's ridiculous. But especially as a Christian, I feel the modern day church has just made the supernatural so untouchable. They put it in this simple little box. There's angels and there's demons. There's heaven and there's hell and then there's earth and that's it.
Yeah,
but no,
there's
it's
so much more complex,
so much more complex,
so much more depth, so much more that we just don't even know about. And I literally was having the thought yesterday about that of how we have just everything's been so dumbed down. We've just been so dulled and
desensitized, I feel too.
Area that it's just once you start digging again, it just feels weird. It feels, it feels in your heart or your gut. It's yeah, this feels right, but it's just wrong everywhere else,
Yeah.
And so it's pushing through that to be you know what? I'm still going to just try to figure out what is true. What does the Bible say? What is,
absolutely.
I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
And I feel that's just who we are. Both of us, we're just truth seekers. Truly, if I feel I'm being lied to or something looks fishy, I'm just going to look into it. I can't just go about my life and pretend I didn't hear that or see that. I have to know, and I don't know if I'm always going to get to the root or the truth of it, but I have to just question. And that's how we raise our kids too. We want them to be able to discern and have wisdom and not just follow the masses. And I think that's just where we've gotten to this point where we're all kind of just following what we're told to do through the public school system, through the media, through our news, food,
medication,
everything. Yeah, the medication is dumbing us down. Our frequencies are low.
Synthetic fragrances. We're gonna cover all of that, but it's just I think it'll be really interesting too because this next generation that's being raised up, because there are so many homeschooled, like-minded parents that are raising their kids to go not against the grain, but kind of. To be more of a free thinker versus just a follower. And I think it'll be such an interesting generation that's being raised up. It'll be I'm just curious to see what they do because I feel like there's going to be some sort of big movement that comes out of that.
I agree because my 14-year-old, for example, knows so much about things that are going on, current events and certain things. I'm blown away. And I also, tell him, hey, you need to be careful about how much you research because it does take you down a dark path. But I didn't learn the stuff that he knows at 14 until 5-6 years ago, some of it.
COVID.
Crazy.
2020.
It's 2020.
Well, I guess that'd be 6 years ago.
6 years now.
That.
Yeah, but I started getting into the whole, where it started with vaccines and Big Pharma. That was 14 years ago.
That was a long time ago, yeah.
And then it was chemtrails, shortly after that. So I probably known about that for 13 years. And then, certain other things.
Yeah, but I would say the wilder things definitely came along after COVID.
The darker things, I feel like. The real dark stuff came out after COVID. It was because of the whole Q thing and everything. Yeah, exposing a lot.
Tunnels, systems, all of that.
Trafficking and all of that goes on.
Yeah, so that was a very dark.
That was hard. That was a tough one.
It was.
I remember being pretty depressed. I was almost getting too far deep. And in fact, my husband told me, he's like, you need to stop. There's only so much you need to know.
Right.
And I agreed.
Yeah, because it's at what point is it no longer useful to know this information? It's sometimes you can get information and it's useful. And then you're hey, well, what can I do with this? I can spread awareness. We can talk about this. We can try to
help.
Sign petitions.
Yeah.
We can try to get laws passed. We can do fill in the blank. But then it's just things that are just so weird and so dark. You're I don't even know where to start with this, So it's just kind of those things that maybe at some point we will come back to and we'll be oh, I know what we can do.
I love that.
But until then, you're kind of just okay, God, this is going on and we have to just pray about it and leave it in God's hands. So,
But I think as a collective people group, the more we know, more people that know, the better because we can come together in prayer.
Totally.
Being knowing that those children are there is huge.
Yeah.
Compared to before, no one knew. They were completely alone. And I feel now they're not alone. So
I know my good friend Borum, she has a nonprofit called Faith in Action. I'm going to do a little plug for her. She doesn't know, but I think it's such an amazing thing that they're doing. But they go into the red light district and they rescue girls. And they basically help rehabilitate them. They teach them how to, fill out applications, make resumes. They'll put them through college. They put them in a home. They feed them. But I think also just some of the stats that she shared, she said that the trafficking industry, they bring in more money than all the airlines combined in 1 year. So just think about how much money the airlines are bringing in. It's even more than that. So it blows me away that it is just it's rampant. It is just out of control.
It blows your mind because you think, how can something so big be so hidden?
Yeah.
Tunnels.
And I think, tunnels, but I think there's a lot more to it. I mean, we could go into porn today. Hard porn today is considered soft porn today.
Well, everything's just getting worse, right? And they're pushing the limits.
I think that also because people have such easy access to things like that where it's violent and it's very degrading. You enact what you see. You're going to reenact what you take into your eyes. That's why, you have to guard what you let in. And so I think because of that, it's also, that's a big fuel, I think, a big, push for why we see even more
that makes sense to me.
Abuse and trafficking going on. And she also said that where they go, the bars only allow foreigners in. So that tells you exactly who the customers are. And I think it tells you kind of everything you need to know.
Wow.
They don't allow their own people, citizens in. It's for foreigners only.
Interesting. Wow.
It's not crazy.
Yeah.
So,
well, God bless her and for people doing the work.
She's doing amazing work. So if anyone wants to check that out, it's called Faith in Action. So anyways, kind of went down a different rabbit hole there for a minute.
That's
but
how we do.
It is all the time. We just bounce from one thing to another.
Yep. Very bouncy conversations.
We do try to keep it streamlined, though, for like our episodes.
Yeah, no, we do.
We try to stay on topic.
It's not straight up like we sat down for a latte and we're just talking random things. Like, yes, we'll have topics for each episode, and we're pretty good about staying on track. And
yeah. Well, our coffee dates are all over, though.
But they are.
Yeah.
Fueled by caffeine and conspiracies.
Yes.
It's a dangerous combo.
That could have been our podcast title.
Coffee and conspiracies?
No, fueled by
coffee and conspiracies with
fueled
Corey
by
and Callie.
caffeine and conspiracies.
I
don't
like
know.
it.
I think Tinfoil Tan Lines is pretty amazing.
It's perfect. I mean, it
love
represents us. We love the sun. We love summer. We love, being
beauty.
bronzed.
We love
beauty and
health,
all the things.
wellness.
Mm-hmm.
So it's perfect.
Yeah. We're perfectly balanced.
We really are.
Yeah. Like, we're normal, but then we're like so abnormal. What do you call that? We're somewhere in between.
I don't know what you call it.
We have to come up with a name for that.
Yeah. Maybe like
word for it.
we look like a donut, but we have like jelly filling in the middle.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's a bad surprise, though, for me. I'm not a jelly donut girl.
I'm not either.
Like, no. Okay. We're going to come up with something better than that. Jelly donut. Okay. Well, on that note,
I'll keep thinking, yeah.
Well, but yeah, I hope just gives people the idea of what's to come and what we're about and what we hope to achieve. And that's helping opening people's eyes, hopefully, right? Like you said before, we're not trying to have all the facts. Right. We're not going to know everything perfectly, but
I think it's good
we
to
want
talk
people
about.
To research.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if
I think it's good to have discussions. And
yeah.
Just get word out.
That's something that's been lost, right? Like, people just can't even have discussions that they disagree on anymore, or that makes them uncomfortable. Like, it's good. If you feel uncomfortable, keep going.
Yeah.
Right?
It's good to like agree to disagree.
Agree.
That's like
100%.
one of my favorite sayings. Let's agree to disagree, because there's so many things that I don't agree with you, but I'm not going to not be your friend. No,
with me?
Just with people,
I know. I'm being funny.
Never. I feel like I agree with everything with you.
We've never disagreed on one thing yet.
I know. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I can't think of anything. We have like
Time will
differing. I feel like we have differing of opinions, but maybe not hard, straight,
not
like
hardcore.
Yeah,
disagreements.
Like no.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is a good partnership.
It is. We balance each other out.
We do.
I'm like crunchy, and you're like
I'm a little more in the middle.
Yeah, you're more in the middle. So I feel like we balance each other out.
Yeah.
We're like, well, what about this? Like when all this like stuff isn't working, you're like, we're just gonna.
Well, like, you're definitely who I like go to if I'm like sick or something like health wise. Like, you're my encyclopedia.
Oh, thanks.
So you're very, very knowledgeable.
I don't know it all, but I know
you know
some.
a lot. You know a lot. Yeah,
thanks.
It's very helpful. Oh yeah, thank you.
So
yeah. Well, on that note, should we cheers our tinfoil mugs just kick off this whole venture and celebrate? I mean, we should have brought champagne.
I know we should have.
Dang it.
But I mean, these coffee cups are so cute.
But they're really cute. And we're fueled by caffeine, so maybe we should have more.
This is actually my first cup of coffee this morning, if you can believe it.
I don't believe you. How?
Yes,
this is going to be my third.
Oh,
I told you.
I gotta catch up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bottoms up, girl.
Cheers.
Love you.
Can we cheers, or are we too far away? Cheers.
Dink. If you couldn't see, we cheersed. But it was a long distance cheer.
Our chairs need to be closer. So good. You know what else I was going to say? I was going to say that like I may be the crunchier one, but I feel like I come to you for like all my like beauty stuff, like help me do this, or what product should I get, or help me like buy skincare.
That's true. You do.
Yes. So I feel like you help me in that area so much.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, thanks to you, I feel like my skin looks better than it has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we both have a really good skincare line. Maybe they'll sponsor us someday.
Maybe that'd be amazing.
It's really, really good stuff, though. Yeah. Should we like plug it?
We could, I guess. We're not getting paid for it, but we just really
You're amazing.
love it.
Based out of San Diego, and they're so great.
ClearStem,
yeah, good stuff.
So, I mean, it's just, that's the thing. It's like, I also only want to plug things that I really love. Like, and I know you do too. Like, we're not going to just be like, hey, like, buy this, like, generic tube of lotion, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like if
or like so
we
many conspiracy
say something,
sorry to interrupt you, but like it makes me think of all those conspiracy channels that sell like the, food supply for the apocalypse. Like they're all selling the same generators
food.
And dehydrated food.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No.
I mean, it's not a bad thing to have, but
it's not. But it's not. That's also not like
it's
us
not
either.
us.
Yeah. We're gonna plug things that we love. Oh, speaking of things we love, that hair love was really good.
Oh yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, I ended up using like I need to order more.
Yeah,
I ended up using it all, and I felt like my hair like just started growing crazy because I was like falling out. I feel like
you were taking the capsules.
Yeah, I feel like I went through like another bout of like maybe COVID, but I didn't get the full COVID effect, but my hair was falling out.
Wow, and you feel like it's
So,
bounced back?
Yeah. So I have like
Oh my
all this like new
gosh.
little
Hair
baby hair.
love.
I know.
Good
all these
work.
new little baby hairs coming in. So
Yeah. And I love that she's local.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and a mama.
She's great.
Yeah,
Anyways,
cool.
another plug.
Another plug.
But for a product that I actually use
Hair
and
love
I really
and clear
like.
stem, girls.
Yes.
And guys.
And guys.
Yeah, good stuff.
This was so fun.
So fun.
I love talking about all this stuff with you, and I'm looking forward to all the new recordings that we have coming up.
Yeah, guys, get ready. First episode, a little triggering, depending on what side of the fence you're on. But we're just going there.
Yeah,
and we're excited about it and just unapologetically speaking the truth and
Spreading
going off
the
of
truth,
what we're like I think it's out of love too. I think it's important to
100%.
if we feel like we know something that is true and important, then we should pay it forward. So that's our hearts.
That's
right.
Our heart. It totally is. So
okay. Well, until next time.
Until next time.